everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex and today I'm going to be bringing you my mid-month wrap-up for July. Now July has been a pretty weird month for me so far. It tends to happen that I get in a reading slump at least once a month, but it has already happened for me in July. The beginning of the month was really busy, some unexpected circumstances came up and I didn't get to read a whole lot. I did pick up a couple of smaller things on NetGalley, so I'm not going to talk about them here because they literally took me 30 minutes to an hour to read each, but if you are interested in those, I did review them on Goodreads and my link to that is always in the description down below if you want to go follow me over on there. But as far as actual full-length novels, I have 4 that I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm not going to be giving you any stats like I do in my end of the month wrap-ups. So these 4 books, the stats for them will be included at the end of the month. So watch out for that. But today we're going to talk about the first 4 books that I've read in the month of July. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first book that I finished in the month of July was finally Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. I have had this book on like 3 TBRs in a row and I finally finished it in July. This book follows our main character Lena, and at the beginning of the novel her mother passes away and Lena has never known her father, but it is her mother's dying wish for Lena to spend the summer in Italy with her father, getting to know him and see where their relationship goes from there. So Lena goes to Italy, meets a cute boy, has some family issues, kind of just the classic cute summer contemporary. I really was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed this book. I thought that it would be my cup of tea. It sounds like something that I would really enjoy just from the synopsis alone, and I really found that I did enjoy it. I believe that Love and Gelato is the debut from this author, and that being said, I feel like the writing style was really nice. It was not extra flowery, there was nothing too special about it, but it also wasn't completely boring. It was kind of a nice mix in the middle, and it felt like it fit the tone of the book for me. I will say that some of the plot points in this novel were pretty predictable to me. I guessed a lot of the plot twists in advance, so it is not the most unique YA contemporary out there, but it's definitely cute. It was pretty easy and quick to get through, and I know this author has written more since this book has come out, and I'll definitely be continuing with her work. But if you are just looking for a cutesy, fun summer contemporary, especially if you like travel novels, I would go ahead and pick this one up. So overall, this was really a hit for me, and I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The second book that I finished in the month of July was The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This book is a sci-fi novel that follows our main character Rosemary as she becomes a crew member aboard the Wayfarer. And aboard the Wayfarer, all of her other crew members are aliens of different species and different in general, and you really get to just watch them connect and go on their mission together. This to me felt like a very, very character-driven novel, even though it is technically science fiction, and obviously that is a ton of the book is that science fiction element. This read more like literary fiction to me. There is a ton of commentary on race, politics, sexual orientation, and how we perceive those things. And it was really handled really well in this novel. A lot of the alien species that we encounter in here don't follow the same norms that we do as far as gender or race or sexuality. And it was really interesting to see those topics handled in an environment like this. You get to go with each character into their heads and see what they're thinking and how they handle their life and how their upbringing has made them into who they are today. I thought it was really, really well done. Becky Chambers created a huge world with a ton of different species and a ton of different backgrounds, and they all just melded together really well. So this is a sci-fi that I had heard a lot of hype about, and I can definitely say that it deserves it. I will definitely be continuing this series in the future. And I will say, if you have access to it, I would definitely recommend going for the audiobook for this one. That's how I consumed it, and the narrator does a phenomenal job. So I ended up giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars as well. Next, I finished Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is a graphic novel that's huge. It's 600 pages long, and I actually managed to finish it all in one day. This is an autobiographical graphic novel that follows the author Craig Thompson as he is growing up. It follows him a little bit in his childhood, but mainly in high school, and it talks a lot about faith and growing in your first love, childhood trauma. It tackles a lot of really serious topics in here, but I feel like it was beautifully done. The illustrations in here are all just black and white, but they're really, really beautiful. And even though this novel is 600 pages, like I said, I finished it in one day. I flew through it. It was a super, super quick read. I felt like in the beginning, I was really, really enthralled and intrigued and wanted to know what happened. And I felt like the story was so beautiful. And I still felt that way at the end, but it did kind of taper off for me a little bit. So while I enjoyed it all the way through, I will say that I enjoyed the first half more than the second half. This is another one that I heard a lot of hype about several years back on BookTube, but I've just never gotten around to it. The biannual Bibliothon is actually happening right now, and I read this book to fit into a challenge for the readathon, so I'm definitely glad that I went ahead and picked it up. And if you are a fan of graphic novels, I would recommend giving this one a go. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I have finished so far in July is Orange is the New Black: My Year in a Woman's Prison by Piper Kerman. So even if you've never heard of or read this book, you are probably familiar with the Netflix TV show Orange is the New Black, which is based off of this memoir. Now, I did enjoy my time listening to this on audio. I feel like the narrator did a really good job, and one thing that I think the author does very well is she balances her personal anecdotes of her time being in prison versus just facts about what happened in the prison and how she was treated and how her life was in the prison. I thought she did that balance very well. Now, I picked this up because I am such a big fan of the show, and the last season is going to premiere next week by the time you're watching this. So I wanted to go ahead and read it. I've wanted to read it for a while, and I'm really glad that I did. But I will say I would not have picked this up if I were not a fan of the show. This is just not a subject that would typically interest me if I hadn't already been exposed to it, but it was interesting to go in, see the story of the real Piper Kerman. And you can definitely see some people in the book that inspired characters on the TV show, so that was really interesting to get to hear her actually tell it and remember things happening in the TV show that are inspired by her real life. Again, a lot of what's happened in the TV show is fictionalized, obviously, but it was good to get a taste of what actually happened for Piper's real life experiences. So if you are a fan of the TV show or you enjoy memoirs, I would go ahead and pick this up. It was a quick read. It wasn't my favorite thing, it wasn't my favorite memoir, but again, I would recommend it. So overall, I wound up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. So I want to really quickly mention 2 books that I am in the middle of. So the first book that I am currently reading is Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. If you follow me on Instagram, again, my link is down below if you want to follow me on Instagram, but if you follow me there, you will know that I have been reading this for like 2 weeks, probably longer than that, and I'm trying to chug along through it. It does not technically fit into my TBR for the biannual Bibliothon, but I'm almost done. I'm right about 100 pages left, so I'm trying to slowly read it day by day so that I can still get in my Bibliothon reads, but finish this before it needs to go back to the library. I'm not gonna go too in-depth here about what it's about. You'll hear about it at the end of the month in my full wrap-up, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really character-driven, but I'm really into that, so I'm enjoying this one. And the other book that I'm currently reading is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I did not expect to pick this up this month. I had it on hold at the library through the Libby app. Wasn't expecting it for about 5 more weeks, but then it popped up on my phone as a skip the line loan. So you only get it for 7 days, but you don't have to wait all that time. You can go ahead and check it out. So I did, and I'm about 75% of the way through. Absolutely adoring it so far. Again, you'll hear a full synopsis and all my thoughts at the end of the month, but I'm really, really enjoying it. It's gonna get a really high rating, so I'm excited to see that one through. So that is it for my mid-month wrap-up. Despite having a little bit of a slow start, I am happy that I've already finished 4 books this month. You will probably be seeing a lot more from me at the end of the month as usual, so we'll just see where it goes from there. So let me know how your reading month has been going so far in July, and if you have read any of the books that I mentioned and what your thoughts are on them. As always, I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below. So until next time, bye!